Hello everyone, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. Welcome to today's video. Today is going to be, I nearly called this a 40k tactics video, but then I realised we're not talking about 40k. So I'm going to call this a 30k tactics video, because we're talking about 30k. Now, as some of you may know, I have bought the Burning of Prospero, and so I am thinking about getting a 30k army all up and running. But I don't know anything about how to play 30k. I've played about a game, 2, 3 games tops, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing, what good builds exist, and obviously I'm playing a Legion that doesn't have its book yet, so I don't know all the ins and outs. Thankfully, I got some help to talk about 30k, and this is someone you should recognise and be subscribed to anyway, but if you haven't, there'll be a link to their channel in the description. It's EgoQueenAlexis, ladies and gentlemen.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing not so bad. I'm just going to turn you up a touch. There we go. So yes, thank you for coming along. I know that it's taking some time out of your day, and it's with the time difference, it's annoying. But hey, what can you do?
It's 12 o'clock. I'm barely awake, so you know.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. I've been in lectures since 9. I had an exam, and now I'm doing this.
Oh, jeez. See, you're the one that's overworked right now. I'm sitting here building a rock lobster, so...
Yeah, I will hopefully paint another Terminator in between doing bloody Legendre polynomials or something. Anyway, that's beside the point. So yes, today we're going to be talking about 30k, a beginner's/idiot's guide to getting started in Horus Heresy 30k, because quite frankly, I'm a beginner, I'm an idiot, so I don't really know what I'm doing. I've never even played a Space Marine army in my life, so I really don't know where to start.
Well, Space Marines are pretty simple to figure out, really.
Oh, yeah. I know they're not, like, super complicated, but... Actually, the first thing that crossed my mind, how good are the Legion lists compared to the 40k Space Marines Codex without formations?
Without formations, the 30k Legion list will run train on any current codex.
Really?
Space Marines, that is.
Oh.
Yes. Depending. If you build competitively, you can thud your opponent off the map very quickly. You have Armored Ceramite, you have the Spartans, you have all the crazy Terminators, which you do have in 40k. But you also have entire legions deep striking, which is amazing.
Yeah, that would definitely be a very nasty thing. Although, to be fair, Marines can do it too with drop pods.
They can, but they can't hide in their drop pods for a turn and then come out of them.
I still didn't actually know that was a thing. Shows how much I know.
Yeah. I forget which drop pod it is, but...
I heard on the podcast someone mentioned Lucius pattern.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So that's fair to know. So yeah, if you are starting in 30k and you're going up against your friend who's thinking, oh, my 40k Space Marines will do a Chapter versus Legions showdown, expect to run roughshod over them. That sounds like fun.
Now, if you play it normally, not competitively, just fun, both codexes can match each other. And it's actually relatively enjoyable, where grav guns are better in 40k than they are in 30k.
Yeah, because everything's got power armor.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. So, I suppose the best place to start, actually, would probably be your first purchase. Would you recommend to a Legion player, Calth or Prospero?
The older one, which I think is Calth.
Calth.
Yeah, that one. You get a Contemptor Dreadnought, Cataphractii Terminators, which are arguably better because of the info save.
Yeah, there's a debate on Tartarus, because Tartarus gets the option to sweep and run.
I don't care too much about sweeping advance in 30k, and simply put, I like staying locked in combat for my opponent's entire turn.
Yeah.
But sweeping advance is also very useful, and I can see its benefits.
Yeah, and Cataphractii are also slow and purposeful, which means they can't run, which could be a nuisance.
Yes, it is, especially when you choose the Legion that's the slowest.
Like
I did with Death Guard.
Yeah, admittedly, I mean, obviously, the actual model count is pretty similar, because in Prospero and Calth you get 30 Marines and 2 heroes, one of which is in Cal's case a Terminator, and then on top of that you get one Terminator squad each, and then obviously you get the Dreadnought or you get the Custodians and the Sisters. So yeah, I can see why Cal is possibly the better place to start. The other thing is,
if you want to get the Burning Box,
yep,
you better be playing Thousand Suns or Space Wolves, because then you're buying a third book just to play the Custodes and the Sisters of Silence. And in all fairness, the Sisters of Silence don't... excuse me. I haven't really run up against an opponent that I need the Sisters for.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, because the only army that I think of Sisters being good against, in particular, is Demons and Craftworld Eldar. And obviously Grey Knights, if they're in your meta, are obviously going to get annoyed by them. But
well, no, I meant 30k.
Oh yeah, because actually the only psychically powered legion really is the Thousand Suns.
There's not too much psychers in 30k, so...
Yeah, particularly with the FAQ, taking librarians out of the compulsory HQ slot means it's even less likely.
Yep.
So yeah, unless you're playing Custodes, then you possibly aren't using the rest of Prospero, which is definitely something that's on my mind, is the fact that I got Prospero because it's got Araman and everything, and that makes sense. The other thing is the special weapons, because the special weapons are different, very different.
Yes. With the Burning Box, you get missile launchers with... No, you don't get missile launchers.
No, you get
That's the biggest thing.
You get heavy bolters, plasma guns, and melter guns. And you also get Thunderhammer, Power Sword, Lightning Claw, Bolt Pistol, Plasma Pistol on your Sergeants. Your Terminators, you get the Reaper Autocannon, a Plasma Blaster, there's a Volkite Charger, and then you've got Chain Fist, Power Fist, Lightning Claws, Power Swords, Combi Bolters, all the usual.
Now, I'm going to get shit for this, and I know it. Sorry, I just cursed on your channel.
Don't worry, it's fine. I didn't expect you to keep your language clean for an entire hour.
I actually don't like Volkite.
No, I looked at Volkite. It's like, it's 7... On the Terminators, it's 7 points to give your Combi Bolter, +1 strength and the Deflagrate ability at the cost of 6-inch range. And that seems like an okay trade. But as a Volkite, blaster, the full-scale guns, I can definitely see why it's a bit weak.
Now, I gave my Tartarus squad 1 Lightning Claw, bolters, and the Plasma Blast Gun, because the Plasma Blast Gun is just simply amazing.
Yeah.
Plasma guns in 30k are extremely powerful. If you're going to do a tactical support squad, go Plasma. Don't go Melta, because every single vehicle you run into will have Armored Ceramite, and ignore it.
Every single one? I thought it was just Land Raider variants.
No, you'll run into them quite a lot.
Okay.
It's enough where it's not worth taking them over the Plasma.
Okay, that's good to know.
Because the Plasma just annihilates one squad of Terminators.
Agreed, I've seen that happen.
Now, for starting... After you buy your box, you should just buy the other box that you didn't get.
Yeah, because I actually went into GW yesterday and I looked at the cost of all the individual Calth units, and it's a flipping rip-off. So Calth costs 95 English, or at least that's what Prospero costs. And I think I did the rough maths that it costs about...
It's 150 here.
Yeah, but for to buy the individual units, to go and buy 3 tactical squads, a Cataphractii squad, a Contemptor, and the Chaplain and thing, is about nearly twice that. So
yep.
So you're definitely going to be better off buying the box again, even if it means you have a redundant board and, well, you get an ass load of dice, which is a good thing.
Actually, what I've seen a lot of people use the board games for, is they put them together and play. What is it called? What is it called?
Kill Team?
Well, yes, but
excuse me.
What is it called when you play inside of buildings?
Zone Mortalis.
On actual boards.
Is it Zone Mortalis?
Zone Mortalis, yes.
Okay.
I've watched people play Zone Mortalis with them, and it's a very, very, very cheap way of getting into that.
Yeah, because we've looked at using Zone Mortalis before, and it does look like quite a lot of fun.
It does, but the terrain is expensive as all hell.
I'm sorry, I'm having a bleed coughing fit right now. This is not good.
Well, stop dying. It's bad for your health.
Yeah, I'll die quietly.
Okay, good.
Anyway, so yes, the first thing that comes to my mind after you buy your box is picking your legion. Now, there are two ways to pick a legion. Well, there's three. There's your method, which is roll a d20. There's...
You get 2 rerolls.
Oh, you get 2 rerolls just in case you get screwed.
No, the legions that you can't pick.
Which are?
2 and 18.
2 and 11, yeah, sorry, of course, 2 and 11.
2 and 11, 2 and 11.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Are you done dying yet?
Hang on, I'm going to pause the recording and get myself a bloody drink. Hang on. And we're back. Sorry about that. Had a minor coughing fit. Anyway, so yes, picking your legion. You have the D20, which has 2 rerolls on 2 and 11. You have the fluff, which is my method. And you also have the gameplay, which legion has the strongest unique units, strongest Primarchs, strongest... We call them rites of war, which are kind of like the equivalent to legion tactics, and all of that stuff. Now, obviously, the D20 is random, and the fluff is up to what you like. But in terms of current legions, bear in mind this is being recorded before Book 7, what is the strongest legion to play? Not the strongest build, but the strongest general legion, because I have a feeling it's Iron Hands.
It is the Iron Hands. I hate battling the Iron Hands simply because they have the Master Sabotage, which automatically pops a vehicle. I think multiple legions can actually get him now, but originally I think it was just the Iron Hands.
Okay.
But the strongest army, in my opinion, now keep in mind this is my opinion,
yep.
And I've never been to a legion tournament yet.
That's fair.
So I don't know what their meta is.
Nope.
But the strongest opponent I faced was Mechanicum.
I beat Mechanicum. I faced Mechanicum once. I was playing, actually, ironically, Death Guard, and I got into it was a massive slog to get up the board, but I used the Death Shroud Terminators, and I got up the board and I won. I chopped them up.
Yes, if you can get to them, you can win. The problem is they can spam monstrous creatures that are very, very tough.
Very, very true. But I get the feeling Mechanicum are going to get hard countered by Thousand Suns, just because force weapons everywhere.
Yep.
But yeah, like, I can see why you can say Mechanicum, because I looked at Mechanicum and was like, whoa, these could be dangerous. But yeah, Iron Hands, if I remember the ability correctly, is everything's -1 strength against them at range, if I remember it correctly.
Yes. Yes,
Yikes.
it is. And they also can get Tank Hunter and all sorts of other dumb rules. They also have those stupid Terminator squads with all the Cyclone missile launchers.
Oh yes, you've ranted about those.
Oh my god, I hate those things so much.
Yes. So yeah, Iron Hands is the strongest build. What else has been knocking about? Because I've only seen my friend is planning on running Raven Guard, super speedy, stealthy Raven Guard. Everything has a 2-up cover save or a 3-up cover save, and it terrifies me.
Yeah. So I face a multitude of different legions. I never face one opponent all the time.
Yep.
And we all kind of agreed to not be jerks in play, but my one friend who is a giant jerk and plays, it doesn't matter what legion, it's always Iron Hands with him, and he always brings Thud Guns. Thud Guns are the great problem remover.
I see.
He also has 3 Scorpiuses, which are the great Unfriend Maker.
I double see.
But big legions will spam, I guess the tournament list would spam Thud Guns and Flyers.
Okay.
Because most people don't have hard counters to them yet.
Alright. Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay. So that's just a rough introduction to the meta, I suppose, although that is, of course, prone to change. We've got Space Wolves and Thousand Suns just around the corner, and then, of course, we've got a few more legions to come out, such as the Imperial Fist, the Dark Angels.
No, the Dark Angels are out.
The Dark Angels are out?
Yeah, they have rules. They suck.
Oh, I thought because Johnson didn't have rules, they didn't have rules. I thought they generally put the Legion and the Primarch out together.
No, they have rules. It's just the Primarch isn't released yet.
Yeah, it's just like usually when they release a Legion's rules, the Primarch is released as a rule set along with it. Kind of like Dawn, actually no, the Imperial Fists have been done because Dawn has rules.
Yep.
I just assumed that Johnson not having rules meant that the Dark Angels didn't. Okay, my bad. But yeah, there are a few Legions who are not done yet. And so you will have to wait to see how the meta settles down when everybody is out. But that's where we're at right now. Anyway, back to actually starting your flipping army. So, you've bought...
Are you dying again?
No, it's alright. I just got something that caught in my throat. So you bought Calth, you bought Prospero, you picked a Legion, you're all set to go. Now, the first thing you need to know, tactical squads don't have special weapons.
That depends on your rite of war, because you can take veteran tactical marines.
Yeah, okay. I'll put that in a different way. If you are using standard Force Org with no limitations or other tricks, tactical squads have no special weapons.
Yep. They are simply bolters, but they do have their bolter doctrine, which allows them to double tap their weapons.
At the cost of shooting next round.
If you're in rapid fire range, that means each bolter gets 3 shots.
3?
Yeah.
Not 4?
It's debated right now with my play group, but we agreed on 3.
Okay.
But it might actually be 4.
I will go and have a look at what... I can only use book 1 probably as my best reference, because this may have been updated, but in book 1, Fury of the Legion, which is the name of that special rule, by the way, read... Yep. Well, at least 5 models remain in the unit armed with bolters or bolt pistols. Models making a Fury of the Legion attack may fire twice with their bolters or bolt pistols. That, to me, seems fire once, fire again at the same target.
Yes, but that still means only 3 shots.
No, I read that. I think rules as written says resolve a shooting attack twice. So shoot once, stop, pick them again, shoot again.
Maybe. I'm not entirely sure about it, but then again, I never bring tactical marines. I always bring veterans.
Yes, because veterans are to what normal Space Marine players would consider a tactical squad, but they go in elites as opposed to troops.
They also have special rules, which the only one you ever take is sniper.
Yes, what have they got? Just so people know all of them, even if you don't use them. They can have Fearless, Sniper, Furious Charge, Outflank, or Tank Hunters. I could argue Outflank is actually maybe usable, or even Tank Hunters if you want your plasma guns to pull double duty, like on Dreadnoughts and stuff.
Yeah, I can see it. But remember, with the Outflank, you can't... As far as I'm aware, you can't outflank the tank with it. No,
that was a 5th edition rule. We talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are a very standard, what we would consider a tactical squad. They have bolter, bolt pistol, chainsword, and they can have 2 special weapons, 1 per 5. They are also allowed 2 heavy weapons, which is kind of scary.
Actually, the scary stuff is back in the troop section. So, to start a Legion, first thing you need, aside from picking one, is you need your HQ choice.
Yes.
All right? So I want to get to that really quickly. Yep. Hang on, I'm going down book.
Yep, so you have 3 options. The Praetor, the Centurion or Centurion, however you prefer to pronounce it, and the Command Squad, which it can actually be taken as its own thing, I think. Can it?
There's also the 2 Legion special tanks that can also be HQ choices. The command tanks.
Oh, command tanks, okay.
But that's the HQ. You always want to do... If you want to get a rite of war, you do a Praetor.
Yes.
If you want to throw the Praetor out the window because he's actually garbage, aside from giving you a rite of war, you grab yourself a Centurion.
Yeah, because the Centurion has the option to become a consul.
Yes, and the consuls are amazing, and the one that you really, 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 really want is Master of Signals.
Yes, 35-point upgrade. You lose a bunch of weapon options, but you don't care. You get basically an orbital bombardment.
D3 orbital bombardments.
Yeah, fire once, D3 pie plates. Yeah.
Yep. The other one that you're going to want is actually like the chaplain. Because of Terminators being so prevalent on the battlefield, you actually want a chaplain to throw into a tactical squad to actually, not a tactical squad, a Terminator squad, to actually be make that Terminator squad very effective.
Yeah, because
you can also take the Apothecary or the Librarian and do the same thing.
Yes, there are a couple of things that I need to mention regarding that, though. If you take the Primus Medicae, which is the Apothecary, or the Librarian, you will need to take another HQ to be your Warlord, because they cannot.
Or the Master of Signals.
Oh, does it also apply to Master of Signals?
Yes.
Yeah, my friend sent me the full FAQ list. I just need to go and dig it up again. Because I should pull that up because it's relevant at the time of this discussion. 7th edition FAQ. That's Psychic Special Characters.
Now, once you pick your 2 HQs, because you actually do want the 2 HQs, both of them buff your army, you want to actually build your army based around the choices you've made up there.
Okay.
For me, if I'm picking a chaplain, I want to use my Death Shroud Terminators because I have special Terminator units that are amazing.
Yes, you do. They've got the power sights, which are terrifying.
Yes, especially now that they're not unwieldy.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so I swing before those power fists and kill them all. As my friend found out very, very terrifyingly.
Lovely.
Now, most people will pick Tartarus or regular Caddy Terminators. That's if you pick a Chaplain or a Librarian. You can do both of those. They're really good.
Yep.
But I actually like taking a Master of Signals and one Chaplain. I do the one squad of Death Shrouds I would do it in a Spartan, but I don't have the Spartan, so I put them all in Terminator armor and deep strike them or walk them across the battlefield.
Slowly.
Yeah. If you want to deep strike Cataphractii or Tartarus pattern Terminators, you need to take a Rite of War, which means you need a Praetor.
Yes, you do. And what did the FAQ say? Because I actually went and looked at it and then completely forgot it again. It was to do with actually like rites of war and stuff. Do you need to have a model with Master of Legion to have rites of war, and do they have to be your warlord? And the rules say that there's a rule called Master of the Legion, and you're only allowed one of them per 1,000, and this allows you to reroll on your warlord traits table and select a rite of war, basically.
Yep.
The other thing, actually, one rite of war will be chosen for the army, regardless of whether multiple characters are included, and rites of war only affect the primary detachment, which is worth knowing. The only exception is possible to have a rite of war for an allied detachment of a large army, as the one model of Master of Legion per 1,000 still applies, and fulfilling the terms of many rites of war may not be possible using the allied chart, but this will require a Master of Legion as HQ for that detachment separately. Rites of war do not carry over to allied from the primary and vice versa.
Yes.
Yes, things. So yeah, that just fills you in on all the whys and wherefores. But yes, if you want a rite of war, and to be honest, if you're running a Terminator army, you need it, you will need a Praetor.
Yep.
So there are basically 4 actual rites of war, at least in Book 1. I think some legions have their own rites of war, am I correct?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
because my legion has a rite of war.
Yeah, so if you're using the 4 core ones, one of them is basically everything that can take a Rhino may instead take a drop pod, but and stuff gets Terminators, stuff that's Terminator gets Deep Strike, but what you have to do, units that cannot be deployed via Deep Strike, either by having access to the rule themselves or because they cannot be carried in a transport with it like drop pods, cannot be chosen. They have upsides and they have downsides.
Think of the 5th edition Space Marine book.
Okay.
They had these exact rules in them for picking your legion. Each legion, for making a chapter. Every one of them had buffs and they had negatives. So it's actually really cool to actually see those all again.
Agreed. But yes, you will have to basically put your entire army in drop pods or in Deep Strike Reserve with this army.
Which is not a problem.
No, it's just expensive.
Yes, it is.
The second one is the Armoured Spearhead. Basically, everything needs to take a dedicated transport. All infantry must have a dedicated transport and start the game in it, or begin play transported inside another vehicle. This means you may not take more infantry models than you have transport capacity. But for that, all things that can take a Rhino may instead select either one variant or another of a Land Raider if they have 10 or more models as their dedicated transport, and tank shocks have an extra leadership penalty.
Yes.
So,
that's actually a very common one to see, because you kind of need the Rhinos to get across the battlefield as quickly as possible.
but you can now switch them out for Land Raiders if you want.
Yep. If you have the money to do that, of course.
Yes, that's the main thing. It's the main thing that's the main reason why you don't. Oh, I wish I could shut my notifications up right now. Because that's happening. Right, I can't turn that off without shutting you up, and that's a problem. Anyway, so the next one is... Oh, also, if all the tanks in that army die, then your opponent gets an extra victory point. Cool. One is called Angel's Wrath, which means that you basically need to have everything in the air. So you have to have only jump infantry, skimmers, jet bikes, or infantry units that start the game in skimmers and flyers.
It's actually really amazing. Again, if you can afford it.
Yeah, because everything that's jump pack gets hit and run, and everything that can take a Rhino can instead take a Storm Eagle. And you said yourself, flyers are a bit of a problem right now.
Yep. I mean, if you have a Daredado? However you pronounce this stupid,
Skyfire Dreadnought.
Yeah, the Dorito Dreadnought. If you have him, taking them out is relatively easy.
But not everybody does.
No, because they're expensive Dreadnoughts.
Yeah. And the final one, which is the one we keep referring back to, is Pride of the Legion. So veterans and Terminators are troops, and units of either of this type must be your compulsory 2 troops. Now, your force org actually goes up to, I believe it's 8 troops in 30k. But you must take at least 2 veteran/Terminator squads, and command squads can also take Land Raiders. But you cannot take an allied detachment, and if all your veterans and Terminators die, then your enemy gets a bonus secondary objective, i.e. bonus victory point.
If your opponent killed all of your stuff, you're dead anyway, so that's
True.
not a negative.
No, the argument then becomes, well, obviously veterans are going to be better than standard Marines, but a standard Marine squad for 10 guys is, what is it now? Hang on. 150, and it's nearly twice that for 10 veterans. It's 250.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
It's debatable on your Legion, like your Legion special rules.
Okay.
So you have to factor those in first.
Right. Okay, that's fair enough. So yeah, there's a lot of this that's going to change depending on who you're playing, because I think of it as Thousand Suns, and I'm like, well, I don't know what my guys are going to get, but if veterans are available to take Psychers, or Brotherhoods of Psychers, then veterans are better. But in other armies, it might be that getting the boots on the ground is better because you're better with bolters. I don't know.
Yep. Now, moving on from veteran tactical squads, we have the Legion Destroyer squads.
Yeah. Where are they?
Page 21.
I don't have page numbers. Oh, no. You're in a different book to me. What section are they?
Elite.
Oh, they're elite. Right, okay, I'm going the wrong way. And also, I don't think they don't exist in book 1.
Probably not.
Yeah, your elite's choices are your veterans, your Terminators, which you can take either type of armour, your Apothecaries, your Tech Marines, and your Dreadnoughts, and your Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and Rapier Weapon Batteries.
Rapier weapon batteries are amazing, by the way.
I had a feeling they might be quite good.
But we'll get to those in a second. Now, I'm using the Age of Darkness, or the Legion Astartes. Which one am I using? Legion Astartes Crusade Army List book.
Yeah, actually, I have that here, actually.
Yeah, it's the more updated version of the first book.
Yeah, Legion Destroyer Squad. I will just go and dig them up now, because then I can see what you're looking at. And try not to die. Terminators. Destroyer Squads, here we go. Got them. So yeah, 150 points, 5 guys, each... Oh, these... Oh, wait. These are the special dudes in Night Lords, the Seeker Squads, who had, like, 2-bolt pistols.
Yes.
Well, that's sad.
Yes, well, the Night Lords are kind of awful.
Yeah, but they had their own cool thing going for them. But these guys have got 2-bolt pistols each, frag, crack, and rad grenades, counter-attack, can take jump packs, and can have pretty good guns as well. And phosphex bombs.
So, if you're actually doing like a deep striking army, these guys are your go-to elites.
That makes sense.
I don't use them. Not yet, anyway. I haven't really found a real good reason to play them yet.
Okay.
Because bog standard swarm troops works.
Yeah, because these guys will...
We're just going to move on from them.
Okay.
To the Legion Terminator Squad. Now, you can choose between all the different patterns of Terminator armor.
That's up to you.
Which is actually really cool. Each one does its own unique thing.
Yep.
The Terminator Squads have objectives secured, essentially.
Yeah, they do. They are counted as scoring units where troops are counted as scoring units. So if you think about the right of war to make Terminators troops, you don't actually have to do that in terms of if you want them to grab objectives, because they can do that anyway.
Yep.
Which is kind of nice.
Now, Terminator Squads, based on your Legion and your playstyle, you might want to do all close combat, you might want to do all shooting. Personally, I like both. Like, I have a squad of shooting Terminators, and I have my Death Strap Terminators.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I'm going to probably let my Tartarus pattern, who can run, be my combat squad, and let my Cataphracti be my camp on an objective and blast with things like a Reaper autocannon squad.
Yep, that is exactly what you want to do with them.
That sounds good. And when I get Scarab Occult, once they come along, I get the feeling they're going to be very close combat orientated and Psyche Blasty, so that should be hilarious.
Now, they have a multitude of different weapons: heavy flamers, Reaper autocannons, plasma blast guns, combi weapons, Volkite charges, power fist, lightning claws, chain fist, thunderhammer, pair of lightning claws, and a grenade harness.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are extremely good, extremely tactical, but look out for plasma.
Yeah, and I think this is something that I should probably bring up now. AP2 is your best friend, not just because Terminators exist, but because of the Sergeant upgrades. Legion squads, almost all of them, their Sergeants can take Artificer armor. This means that power swords just drastically dropped in value.
Yes.
But...
And they always stick their Sergeant out first.
Yeah, but is it then worth taking the things like Power Fists over Power Swords? Or is it worth upgrading your sergeants at all? Or are they just there as death fodder?
No. I upgrade them always. But we'll get to Tactical Marines in just a second.
Okay.
So, moving on from Terminators, we have the Tech Marine Convent. I don't care about this, to be honest. I'm just going to move on from it. It's the same. It's Tech Priests with gravitation guns. They have some cool stuff. But to be honest, there's cooler elites than Tech Priests. But if you're running Iron Hands and you want to do a very fluffy list, bring them.
Same with Iron Warriors.
Yes.
Then you have the
Apothecarian Detachment, again, same thing.
Now,
upgrades to squads.
I would argue, well, actually, there's an argument to be made, is a Primus Medicae, i.e. the Centurion Apothecary, enough to cover all your Feel No Pain needs, or is having extra apothecaries around worth it?
Extra apothecaries are always worth it. Not only does it give you another dude in the squad that you need to kill, it gives you another person to absorb challenges. It also gives that unit that you just brought a plasma gun to kill the sergeant. That sergeant can then just go, nah.
Plus you can give the apothecaries Artificer armor to help them tank even further.
Yep, and they can be upgraded with multitudes of different weapons.
Yeah.
Actually, it's just a power sword. Never mind.
Yeah, it's literally just a power sword.
They can get a scanner, a combi weapon, so you would give them a combi weapon. I would.
Yeah.
Give them combi plasma. And a power sword.
Last question, actually, just before I leave Apothecaries. Primus Medicaes, where do they go? Because you said you put your chaplain in your Terminator squads. If you took a Primus Medicae, would you stick him in Terminator armor, or would you stick him with something like Veterans and then ignore the Apothecarians?
Neither. I stick them in a troop choice of 20 tactical marines and walk them across the battlefield.
You could do that with an Apothecarian detachment, though.
Yes. But I like doing it with the commander because it then makes the target priority go to him for people trying to get Warlord kill.
Very good point.
Aside from that, you can just do it with the Apothecarian detachment.
And now we come to Dreadnoughts. Now, there's two types of Dreadnoughts. There's...
Oh, no. There is not two types of Dreadnoughts. There is two completely different styles of Dreadnought.
Oh, God, sorry. I looked at book 1 and there's 2 Dreadnoughts. In here, there's 4 Dreadnoughts.
Okay. The Legion Dreadnought Talon. Now, keep in mind, BS 5.
And Weapon Skill 5.
Yes. Okay? That is huge. Now, I'm not sure if the FAQ fixed that, but I don't think it did. If it did, whoopsie-daisy, I'm wrong.
I don't think I saw it get fixed.
I run it as BS5 anyway, and I love Rifleman Dreadnoughts. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, the Dreadnoughts themselves are 125 in points. They are Dreadnoughts, whatever. Yep. They only have 2 attacks, so keep that in mind for close combat Dreadnoughts.
Yep, and they have a twin-linked... Yeah, go on. Yeah, because 40k Dreadnoughts have 4 now, don't they? They got patched.
Yes.
And their gun is a twin-linked heavy bolter, which is a gun you may not be used to on Dreadnoughts.
Yes, but they can take the multi-melter for free, so everybody who has the multi-melter Dreadnought can still use their multi-melter Dreadnought.
Yes.
Twin-linked autocannon, which is cool. Twin-linked missile launcher.
Yeah.
Twin-linked missile launcher. Keep that in mind.
Double, yeah.
Plasma cannon, firestorm cannon, twin-linked las cannon, Volkite culvert. Okay, here's your options for the rifleman. Twin-linked las cannon, twin-linked missile launcher, or twin-linked autocannon. I've actually run plasma cannons on them before, and they're pretty decent, especially with that BS of 5.
But
all their weapon options are very good, and with their 2 attacks, I would strictly stick them to double shooting Rifleman Dreadnought
because
builds.
You can switch out your Dreadnought close combat weapon to get another gun. You can get some close combat weapons, but you can get a second missile launcher or a second autocannon if you wish for it, which is terrifying.
Yes. Now, I've also done Dreadnoughts with 2 power fists and the plasma blast guns inside the fist, and those are extremely effective. There is no bad way to run a Dreadnought in 30k.
But, there is the other thing, the Contemptor Dreadnought. Now, bear in mind, both of these...
There's also Havoc launchers, 2 Hunter Killer missiles, and a Frag Assault launcher for any Dreadnought. Meaning, if you have those, the Ironclad Dreadnought, you can actually run him in 30k as a regular Dreadnought with a Frag Assault launcher, 2 close combat weapons.
Yes, you can. Sorry, I missed that. And you can also, you take them in squadrons, but they don't work as squadrons. So
they have to start as a squadron, and then they just go, okay, later, dudes, and move on.
Correct. And the same applies to, the
Contemptors as well.
Yeah, to the Contemptors. Now, the Contemptors are 50 points more, but for that, you get a point of strength, a point of front armor, a 6+ invulnerable save, or a 5+ against shooting, which is where they're going to be, and you also get some different guns.
Now, all of those guns that I mentioned before are here, except you got the heavy conversion beamer and the Carries patterned assault cannon, which is definitely one of the best guns in all of 30k. You take them in a pair and you get yourself a buttload of shots at an enemy and you kill it. The only problem is it's 24-inch range and you have to get close to it.
Which you can do because you've actually got fleet on this thing.
Yes. You also have drop pods.
And drop pods, of course.
Now, Everything else is exactly the same. They can take gravitation guns, and they can also... Yeah, that's pretty much it. They're exactly the same, except for
they don't have armored ceramite as an option.
No, they don't. I thought they did, but they don't.
Yeah, and there's a couple of other things. Mortis dreadnoughts, which are a bit more akin to your normal dreadnoughts, i.e., you run them on their own. They're a little bit worse in close combat, but they have this thing that gives them skyfire and intercept if you don't move, which is very, very nice.
Yeah, it is. There's also the I can't remember his name right now. What is it? The Dreadnought.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
Yeah, the unpronounceable one. But you can also pull the same trick, by the way, with the Mortis on a Contemptor, which actually is... A Contemptor Mortis is 20 points cheaper than a regular Contemptor, and you can still take 2 assault cannons to just blitz flyers, or 2 twin link las cannons to just knock flyers out of the sky all day.
Yep.
Yikes.
And there's also the Leviathan Dreadnought.
That isn't in here, but yes.
And there's a few more other Dreadnoughts. Now, there is no bad Dreadnought choice. To be honest, 30K's Dreadnought choices are right on point. They are all amazing, and you should field Dreadnoughts, because Dreadnoughts in 30K are actually really good.
Okay, I think I'm just going to maybe speed this along a little bit, because we've been going for 40 minutes and we've barely left the elite section and stuff. I was trying this to be a bit more of a general overview than a unit-by-unit review. I think I kind of got the wrong end of the stick across.
Okay.
Sorry, that's my bad.
I'll just go through them quicker then.
Yeah, so let's go into troops, because I'm going to skip over the rapiers, just because that everybody, I think...
Everybody knows that they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're the best thing in this book. Okay, so Legion Tactical Squads, they can go up to 20. They're basic tactical squads. You always give the Sergeant Artificer Armor. I give him a power weapon and a combi plasma, or a combi flamer if I'm doing my Death Guard Legion. That's pretty much it. You give him a Rhino, you're good to go. They have Fury of the Legion. Legion Assault Squads are grossly overpriced.
Just had a thought. You can't take the Rhino if you go up to 20. Worth a thought.
Well, yes. If you go to 10, you take the Rhino. If not, you walk. Yeah. Legion Assault Squads, way too expensive. They're pretty much the same as they are in 40K, except for the Artificer Armor on the Sergeant and the Sergeant's weapons.
Yeah, and they cost exactly the same as Veterans.
Yep.
Sorry.
Breacher Squads I haven't used yet, so I don't know too much about them.
Yeah, Breachers look like one of the coolest things, because they have those shields, the boarding shields, which I think are absolutely an awesome aesthetic, but I don't know if it's quite worth it.
I don't believe it is.
Okay, fair enough. Now, there's 2 pieces of war gear that applies to a lot of units. It includes Veterans, Tactical Squads, and the lot. And that is the Vexilla and the Nuncio Vox.
Which are awesome.
How awesome is awesome?
The Nuncio Vox, if I get the name right.
Yep, Nuncio Vox. I
mix them up all the time. Allows you to use their line of sight for ordnance weapons.
Which, if you have a Master of Signals...
Which means if you take a Master of Signals, you always take Nuncio Voxes.
Indeed.
If you take Land Speeders, you take Nuncio Voxes.
Yeah, because it works for...
Not Land Speeders. If you take any type of ordnance weapon, like anything, you bring them.
Yeah. Did it have an effect on Deep Strike? I forget.
I honestly can't remember at this point.
I'm scrolling like a lunatic just to check.
Now, I'm going to keep moving on while you check that.
Yeah, so what's the Vexilla is your little banner thing that goes on the back. I'm sure you've all seen them.
Now, the Legion Tactical Support Squad is where it's at. 10 Marines, all plasma weapons, in a Rhino, or a drop pod.
Bear in mind you will not be able to...
They're going to melt something.
Bear in mind you cannot do this out of 1 Prospero or Calfox, because you only get 3 and you need a minimum of 4.
Yep.
Just need to point that out. Vexilla may reroll failed morale checks. Probably quite nice because you don't have They Shall Know No Fear in this game. And the Nuncio Vox is a teleport homer as well. And
awesome.
It's for barrage rather than ordnance.
Yes, I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah, so yeah.
Reconnaissance squads are your snipers. They're snipers. They do snipery things.
Yeah, they look awesome, but I reckon that if Space Marine Scouts were in this game, then you would use them over recon squads, I would wager.
Yeah. Now, support squads mean that you have to take mandatory troop choices before you can take support squads.
Which is the only way to keep them balanced.
Yes, now, the Rhinos. The Rhinos are awesome in 30k because they can have a combi weapon, a heavy flamer, a heavy bolter, havoc launcher, or a multi-melta.
Yeah, they're basically... no, they can't have multi-melters.
They can in one of the books.
Okay.
I forget which one.
In this one, they don't, and the other thing is that they're basically Razorbacks with an extra transport capacity. That's basically what they are.
And non-twin-linked weapons, but yes.
Yeah. So yeah, they're sort of a hybrid.
They also have repair, same as the always.
Yep.
The Legion drop pods are drop pods, go figure.
Yeah, and they have all the same rules that you're completely used to and don't even need to explain that one if you're a Space Marine player. And there's also Dreadnought drop pods, which are a little bit different. I.e., they are technically assault vehicles. Yeah, they're assault vehicles, which means you can assault out of them. But you can't assault the turn they arrive. Reason? Doesn't really specify. Okay, here's what it says. Burning retros. The drop pod has the Shrouded special rule on the game turn it arrives. Once it lands, its doors open, but the Dreadnought does not have to deploy unless you want to. Should the Dreadnought remain any part of its structure, including the doors on the game it arrives, it is also shrouded. So you can have Shrouded on your Dreadnought on the turn it comes in, which is kind of nice.
Yep.
Ouch. Yeah, and it will... What was that?
Whoops.
Oh.
Sorry about that. 1 second.
Okay, sure. Sorry, folks.
I'll call you back later. Bye.
Sorry, we're getting a lot of interruptions because my notifications...
Sorry about that.
Yep, it's fine. Notifications ping off like crazy, and I do apologise to the people who are getting a little bit irritated with it. It's just a thing, and there's nothing much I can do about it, I'm afraid. One thing I will say with Dreadnought drop pods, they cost a lot. 65 points a throw, which is a lot for a transport vehicle that doesn't do anything. Because it doesn't even have a gun.
It is worth it.
Doesn't even have a gun, but yes, it is probably worth it. Right, moving into fast attack, you have Seekers, which sound like bikers, but they're not. They're basically like Stern Guard veterans. But they have preferred... Yeah, but they also get preferred enemy against one unit at the start of the game. It's called Mark for Death. It's kind of nice. They're also BS5, which is terrifying.
Yeah. There's the Legion Outrider squads, which are the bike squads. They're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Except the squad may exchange their twin-linked bolters for one of the following. Twin-linked Flamer, twin-linked Meltagun, twin-linked Plasma.
Also, you have Scout.
Yes.
Ouch.
Yeah, they can all have Plasma guns instead of twin-linked.
Yep, it's 25 points per guy, which basically doubles their cost, but...
T5 on a vehicle that moves 12 inches? Yes, please.
Yeah, that's fair. It's 55 points a model to do it, but you then get toughness 5 bikers with twin-link plasma. Ouch.
Now you have the attack bike squad, which is exactly the same, except they get an autocannon, which is kind of a random weapon to give them.
Probably quite good, though. Considering the nerf because of armoured ceramides, autocannons might be quite useful.
Yep.
And they can have melter bombs, just in case.
Yeah, which is so weird.
And then you have probably one of the cooler units in 30k, Legion jet bikes. They have heavy bolters, which is kind of nice. They can deep strike, they can take some reasonable good guns. But they basically work exactly the same way as bikers, but worse. By the looks of it.
I want to say they're good. I really do. But they have heavy bolters, which is cool. They can get a plasma gun. They can get plasma cannons. For every 3 models in the squad, one may replace its heavy bolter with a plasma cannon, which is cool. They can take multi-meltas. They're sort of Eldar jet bikes of 30k.
But they don't
have... not as good.
Yeah, they don't have the jumpy, roundy nonsense.
Yeah. They're still really, really cool.
Yeah, you then have an ass load of flyers. There's one... Oh, no, there's only one.
We're not going to go over all the flyers. There's a lot of flyers. All of them are good.
Yeah, so just flyers. Tarantula sentry guns, which is interesting.
Which are awesome.
Great. So they're like unmoving artillery that sort of fires on its own, which is kind of nice. Which
But it only has DS3.
Yep, that's true. You've got a Dreadclaw drop pod, which is an actual flyer, which I didn't realise, which is kind of fun. You may have come across Dreadclaws in Chaos Space Marines, or something similar to them, so interesting.
Yep. The Legion Land Speeder Squadron's pretty much exactly the same. They can go up to 5. They can get a Volkite weapon.
They can get a
They
grav
can get a
gun.
Havoc Launcher, which is kind of cool.
Grav
They
gun.
can also get plasma cannons and gravitation guns.
Yeah, because we said it. I think we said it right at the beginning. Grav is not as good as in 40k because there's less 2+ saves around, but it's still going to be worth having in places.
Yep.
Got another flyer, which
They
is
can get heavy 2 Hunter Killer missiles each, which is awesome. Another flyer.
yeah,
Another flyer. And the Attack Speeder Squadron. Now, these are the bars of deodorant from the old edition.
yeah. They look very, very weird.
Yeah, they're very stupid looking, but my god, do they make up for it.
Yeah, Twin Link Cyclone missile launcher on a land speeder that can be swapped for a Twin Link las cannon for 10 points. Ow!
Yeah, you just... Oh, and they're armor 11. Except on their rear.
Yep, which is also kind of nice. And they have outflank, just in case you want to do that, because you want to.
And they have 2 weapons, so they're all good.
Yep. You have the Deathstorm drop pod, which is basically a...
Also, they look cooler. Like, I like their look.
Okay,
They
fair
look
enough.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm trying to push on, and now we're into heavy support. You have the Deathstorm drop pod, which is a drop pod that doesn't drop anything in, which is kind of fun. But it can fire, like, ass loads of missile launchers. Actually, no, it's just a Cyclone missile launcher, that's all it is. Kind of terrible.
But it can fire at multiple different targets.
5, I reckon.
Yep. The Legion heavy support squads can go up to 10, and each one of them can have a heavy weapon. Keep that in mind. You can have 10 missile launchers,
But
10 heavy bolters.
Thing is, same thing I need to raise. You have to have everyone equipped the same way, which means out of Prospero or Calth, you only get 3. So you can't do it out of 1 box. Need to point that out again.
Yep. But it's totally worth it once you can. I do want to try a squad of 10 plasma cannons just because of how fun that sounds.
Ew.
I want to watch them all kill themselves.
Perhaps. And then we have...
This is the one sergeant you never upgrade. Like, he's just there.
Yeah, also
The Predator squads are amazing because their base weapon shoots 4 times.
Oh, the Predator cannon. That's a new gun. Actually, you get a lot of new guns here. You get the Executioner Plasma Destroyer, which sounds like the Executioner gun on Lehman Russ's. The heavy
Pretty much is.
the heavy conversion beam, and a Magna Melter cannon. Dear God.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, you get the Auxiliary Driver, the Extra Armor, the Armored Ceramite, and the Machine Spirit on a Predator.
Ouch. And Command Tank.
You get a Combi Bolter, Combi Weapon, Heavy Flamer, Heavy Bolter, Havoc Launcher. You can get more weapons on this, keep it stationary, and barrage the crap out of somebody with Predators.
Also Command Tank.
Yes, very important.
Yeah. And then you have...
The Legion Land Raiders,
You have
they
an
do
Ass-Load.
Land Raider stuff.
Yeah, let's just have a look at the war gear. So you've got a standard... They've all got las cannon. Oh no, you've got one with a third gun. That's broken.
Yeah, but that's always been there.
Yeah, so yeah, you've got 2 that work very similarly to... There's one that is basically the normal Land Raider, the Phobos. The Proteus has no extra guns. It only has its las cannons. And is not an assault vehicle, whereas the Phobos is. And the Achilles has a, two Twin Link multi-melters and a quad gun.
Yeah, the Achilles is kind of awesome, but it has no transport capacity.
Indeed.
Now, the Legion Fire Raptor is the best, hands down best flyer in all of 30k, in my opinion, just because of how cool it looks.
Also, it's got 4...
And it's also incredibly good. It has independent firing turrets, meaning it can target 3 different things with its weaponry.
Yeah.
And it's just incredibly good.
Also, 4 hull points, armor 12 all round.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. You then have the Alpha Pattern Land Raider, which is an even more stupid version of the Achilles, which has got Volkite Culverins and an even better quad gun.
Yep.
You have Legion Artillery, which is basically the Basilisk and Medusa from Imperial Guard, or the Whirlwind.
On a Rhino chassis.
On a Rhino, sorry, yeah. So you get Earthshaker cannons if you want them, or the Medusa gun, which I quite like the Medusa gun from Old Guard, which was really kind of nasty. And you can also pick up some air defense missiles in here if you would prefer to get your anti-flyer from here. You have Vindicators, which do Vindicator things.
Now, keep in mind, the Vindicator is only a single tank.
Yep, it's one tank. What-de-do.
Yeah.
You can also swap. You can also swap
it. Kind of sucks because everything else is like squadrons.
True. You also get an optional gun on your Vindicator. You can take it to something called a laser destroyer array. Worth the swap.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Okay, good to know. Worth the swap. You then have Alexis' favourite tank in all of tanks, the Spartan, which is a 5-hull point.
Spartan assault tank.
It's a 5-hull point Land Raider with 2 lots of quad las cannons. What the hell? Oh, and a capacity of 20 bloody 5. Oh Jesus. Yep. Oh
10 Terminators and 2 captains in there. And an apothecary, not in Terminator armor.
Or 10 Terminators and a Primarch.
Yep.
Jesus.
Oh, I love it.
Then you
love it.
Then you have...
And it has all the guns, bells, and whistles of all the other tanks.
Yep. It costs 300 points, but you don't care.
Yeah. The Calidus Assault Ram, again, another flyer.
Yeah, I think the Space Wolf thing... Yeah, 2 of the Space Wolf thing jammed together that runs into things. It's ridiculous. It's a flyer that rams. It's so weird.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because all of the Space Marine flyers kind of look like boats anyway.
True. You then have
and all fly based on anti-gravity weapon abilities and retro thrusters and all sorts of other nonsense that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Then you have the Sakaran, which is a predator, a tough predator that is...
It's the love child of a Land Raider and a Predator.
It's got a ridiculously big gun. That's a great anti-vehicle gun because it's strength 10 AP 1-2 shots. But if you pen a vehicle, it has to snap next turn, which is really, really good, I think.
Now that's the siege variant. The regular one just has its auto cannons, which are heavy 6, rending, rapid, and tracking, which is amazing.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah,
so no jink saves. So yeah. Hey Eldar,
buzz you.
Do you want to jink?
Don't. And then you have the Charybdis, which is another type of drop pod by the looks of it. Yep, it's another type of... It's a really wonky 20 model drop pod.
Yep.
Which kind of looks...
The Whirlwind Scorpius, the Great Unfriend Maker.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Do you see why this thing's nickname is the Great Unfriend Maker?
Yeah, it's basically got a 1 plus D3... small blast, strength 8, AP3 gun.
Yeah.
Ew. Ew. Also armor 13. Jesus. And then you get...
We're not going to cover the super heavies. Those everybody can look up on their own. They're based on their legions. They're all ridiculously good.
And then, of course...
I prefer the Typhon because it's amazing.
Yeah, and then, of course, you can finish this off. All legions have their own unique units and their own Primarchs. So we have basically done the entire legion army list there without meaning to. But yeah, so yeah, obviously what you build will depend on your legion's playstyle, but a good place to start, from what I have listened to, and I'm still talking as a noob here, is once you've got your Prospero, your Calth, you've got 60 Marines, 2 lots of Terminators, a bunch of characters, including a Chaplain, a good Praetor if you want to use it, a Librarian, and if you are playing Wolves, then you have got another character there to use a Centurion or Praetor. And the best thing you can do, just listening, is you take everything as troops. Because you have 60 Marines and 10 Termies, everything can be troops if you use the Rite of War. And you then choose whether you want to do that as veterans or tacticals, depending on your personal playstyle and legion.
Yes. All of that is true. Oh. That was the legions. Now there's also the Mechanicum and the what do they call the IG and 30K?
Either the Imperial Army or the Solar Auxilia. It's one or the other.
Yeah, the Solar Auxilia. They're cool. I like them. They're awesome.
They're God. And of course, you'll have the Custodians and the Sisters of Silence on their way very, very soon once Prospero drops. So, yeah, I think to summarize, because I didn't really intend to do exactly what we did, but we did. The fluff will obviously drive you a lot, and obviously if you want to use your specific Legion units, you can do that. But the most solid build as a starting player would be a Praetor to unlock the Rite of War, if you want it, a Centurion or two, one of which is a Master of Signals, the other one is your Legal HQ, which is either going to be a Chaplain or the Praetor. You have up to probably either 3 20-man tactical squads or 6 veteran squads, depending on which you prefer and whether you've taken the Rite of War or not. Then you have your Terminators, kitted out however you prefer. Cataphracti for ranged, Tartarus for up close is my preference, but you could do it either way round. You've got yourself a Contemptor, which will do a lot of damage because Dreadnoughts seem like they're bloody terrifying. And then from there, it's go with the flow.
Yeah, pretty much. All I know is 30k is actually a far, far more balanced game than its 40k counterpart. It's a lot of fun. There's little to no formations.
Agreed.
And the super heavies actually make sense because you have to bring a certain amount of points before you can actually unlock them. So it makes it so that your opponent is prepared for them.
Yes, quite possibly.
So I've gone up against a few cheesy lists, but other than that, most people playing 30k at this current moment are all playing fun, fluffy lists, which is what I originally got into 40k's tabletop for, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay, final question.
Other than that, I can say that I actually enjoy 30k more than 40k.
Okay, final question. Are the Primarchs ever worth it for anything other than funsies and fluff? Are they really good enough?
Some, yes. Unfortunately, Mataran isn't that good. So it makes me kind of sad. I know Vulcan is really good. Reboot Gilliman is really good. Horus is amazing.
Yeah, I've heard about Horus.
Other than that, the other Primarchs are kind of like whatever. I actually ran one over in a game, so...
Yeah, I mean, I've used Kurz and I've fought against Alfarius, and obviously, when it's time, I will be getting and using Magnus. But I was just wondering if it's worth doing competitively ever to take a Primarch. Because they're as much as a super heavy. Will they ever do more than a super heavy? Possibly not.
God, no.
Exactly. And they're taking up the same slot as well.
I can shoot a D-cannon across the field. A Primarch simply can't do that.
Very true. The other thing is you don't have access to Titans and Knights. They aren't in the Crusade army list, which is lovely because, well, obviously...
No, you do have access to them.
Are they in Mechanicum or something?
No, they're in there. You can take Knights.
Oh, I didn't see them. I'm possibly...
Yeah, you just have to take a certain amount of points and they count as Scattered Legion, but yes, you can take Knights.
Oh, right. Okay. That might be something I missed. Thunderhawk.
Yeah.
Thunderhawk.
And you also have to look out for your point limits on your Titans. Because you have to do a certain amount of points before you can get them.
Yeah, because...
and then you can't take a Rite of War because you're Scattered Legion.
Shattered Legion.
Point. Shattered, yes.
Yeah. Other thing, if you want to run double Praetor, you have to be running over 1,000 points because Master of the Legion is a thing. If you want to run a Praetor and a Primarch, you have to be running over 1,000 points. Although, to be fair, if you manage to fit both of those in, then fair play. You've done really good economizing. Not much more really on there. I know that wasn't quite maybe the perfect beginner's guide, like how to build your army from scratch, but there is so much that is Legion based that I think the general overarching advice that I have taken away from this as a 30k noob is Terminators, Dreadnoughts, tanks, done.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, everybody that originally got into 40k and bought the Space Marine box sets and were like, yeah, Dreadnoughts are awesome, and then you field them in 40k and your Dreadnoughts just get popped like there's no tomorrow, you bring them over to 30k and watch them survive most of the game.
Yeah. And it does seem like it's a bad time to wear power armor. Although, to be fair, if your power armor guys are the basic troops of the entire game, I suppose that's perhaps to be expected.
That's why the game's balanced.
Yeah. And then you have obviously got those little optional troops. You won't be able to do that at a Calth and Prospero, but they are assumedly worth taking once you've filled up your mandatory slots, particularly the... we haven't tested the breaches, and the recons seem a bit meh, but the support squads in particular look like they are worth a lot of power.
Oh god, yes. Yes, they are.
And of course...
That's why I have 3 of them.
Yeah, and of course when you pick your Legion, it has usually 1 power armoured unit unique to it, you have 1 Terminator unit unique to it, and then some characters and the Primarch, generally.
Yep.
The only other thing that is missing, if you are a standard Space Marine player that you might be expecting to see, there are no relics, they do not exist, which is for the best, but each Legion has its own...
That's because they're there. Like,
yeah, they're
these
not...
are the things that become the relics.
Very, very true. So yes, that is pretty much a very bad beginner's guide to Warhammer 30k and playing in the Horus Heresy.
I don't know, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. It is good. Sorry, I'm being rude to Alexis when I say a very bad beginner's guide, because Alexis has done a lot of things here that have been very, very useful, and I'm sure even if the lessons that I have tried to impart are useless, you have all learned something at home. I hope you all have. And feel free to provide some corrections in the comments. Start a debate, and if there are people who are new to 30k, feel free to check the comments, because the people will be correcting us. I'm 99% sure of that.
Yes. More than likely.
Yeah. In terms of, like, if people are interested in my 30k army, I will be doing a little mini showcase of, like, where I'm up to, probably next week. I won't probably be using it until probably summer, because I've got to actually get the thing built up. I've got about 1k points out of Prospero. You can get about 1k points out of it quite easily, but I'm going to have to get that all built and painted whilst doing a degree, and that's not proving to be a good use of my time right now. But yes, you will see some Thousand Suns on this channel eventually, particularly once Brook 7 drops and I start fanboying a lot.
I have about 5,000 points of Death Guard.
Yeah, if you head over to Alexis' channel, link in the description if you haven't gone over already from all the podcast stuff. Go subscribe if you want to learn some more 30k stuff, because you get battle reports, and that's something I can never do.
Well, I do mostly 40k battle reports, because my locals don't like 30k, because they're losers.
Oh.
But you get some awesome battle reports, some awesome commentary, some awesome sit and paint things that you can listen to, and... yeah.
Yeah, and if you like talking nonsense like the podcast, well, Rants and Rambles exists. Anyway.
Yes, it does.
So, that is going to wrap things up. Sorry about the interruptions of my notifications, Alexis's phone, and me having a coughing fit. Sorry about that. I do apologise. Biological and technical hitches do happen. So, anyway, thank you all for watching the video. I do hope you enjoyed it. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis.
And I'm Alexis, the Ego Queen. Love me.
Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.